In this module, you will learn about various mobile telecommunication technologies, various network security concepts, advantages of cookies, concept firewall, India IT Act, cyber law, cyber crimes, IPR issues, and hacking, various web services, concept of language, XML, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP, domain names, URL, website, and web browser, concept of web servers, web hosting, and web scripting. Let us begin the session with the concept of mobile telecommunication technologies. You all know that mobile is a portable device and mobile communication is majorly dependent on cellular networks. So, now, what is a cellular network? It is a radio network in which land is divided into areas known as cells. Here, each cell in the network has a transmitter called as cell site and a receiver called as base station. In cellular network, different frequency is used by each cell for the transmission of signals and are also capable of providing radio coverage over a wide geographical area. The network of cells in the cellular network assists the mobile devices to communicate even if they are moving from one cell to another through base stations. There has been a remarkable growth and development in the mobile industry in last 2 decades, both in terms of technology as well as subscribers. In the late 1940s, the first systems providing mobile telephone service was introduced in the US, and in the early 1950s, it was extended to Europe as well. The single-cell systems introduced suffered from various limitations, such as restricted mobility, low capacity, limited service, and poor speech quality. Apart from these, it was also subject to other drawbacks in terms of heavy in weight, bulk in size, high manufacturing expense, and susceptible to interference. In the later years, mobile systems has become smaller, lighter, and more sophisticated with the use of semiconductor technology and microprocessors. Let us now understand some related terms used before looking at various mobile telecommunication technologies. FDMA. It stands for Frequency Division Multiple Access. In this, a part of the frequency bandwidth is used by every user. Every user consists of its own frequency domain. CDMA. It stands for Code Division Multiple Access. Here, a unique code sequence is provided to every user. However, the data signal is encoded with the help of given unique code at the sender's end. The receiver recovers the original data by decoding the signal as per the unique code. TDMA. It stands for Time Division Access. In this, every user is given access to transmit only within particular time intervals. Different users transmit in different time slots. The users occupy the whole frequency bandwidth when they transmit. Now let us look at various mobile telecommunication technologies developed over the years. Let us begin with 1G mobile systems. The 1G mobile system came into existence in late 1970s and early 1980s. It was developed using analog cellular technology. They are featured with voice facility and were based on circuit-switched technology. In these systems, voice is modulated up to a frequency of 150 MHz or higher, and radio towers are used for transmission. The major limitations of the 1G system were its low capacity, poor voice links, and no security. Next is about 2G mobile system. The 2G mobile system came into existence in early 1990s. 2G used digital signals while transmitting voice. 2G provided paging, SMS, voicemail, and fax services for mobile systems, and with the use of 2G system, both voice and data conversations were digitally encrypted. 2G system was developed based on Global System for Mobile Communication, or GSM technology, and its standards were defined by ICSE in 1989. GSM technology combines the feature of FDMA and TDMA. With GSM, all wireless and subscriber information is stored in interchangeable modules known as SIM, Subscriber Identification Module cards. By swapping out the SIM card, the users can easily switch phones or provider's card, and they use circuit switching method for this. Next is about 2.5G mobile systems. 2.5G mobile systems are those mobile technology systems which makes use of packet-switched domain instead of circuit-switched domain. They make use of GPRS, General Packet Radio Service, in addition to GSM technology. Sending pictures through email has been established due to the implementation of 2.5G services. GPRS technology played a major step towards the development of 3G mobile system. Next is about 3G mobile systems. The 3G technology is a developed version of 2G phones with add-on multimedia features such as video, audio, and graphics applications. Watching streaming video or video telephony turned to reality with the invention of 3G technology. The main objective of 3G is to have a single standard network instead of the different standards adopted in the US, Europe, and Asia. 3G mobile systems are also called as Universal Mobile Telecommunications System, UMTS, or IMT 2000. These 3G systems can open the door to many internet-style applications, as they are capable of sustaining higher data rates. The characteristic features of IMT 2000 3G systems include use of compatible standards worldwide for all mobile applications, supports both packet-switched and circuit-switched data transmission, data rates up to 2 megabytes per second, depending on mobility, high bandwidth efficiency. Next is about 4G mobile systems. 4G networks are wholly based on packet switching and thereby helps in fast transmission. 4G networks are estimated to provide in speeds up to 1 Gbps while stationary and up to 100 Mbps while moving. 4G can provide better than TV quality images and video links as it is a wireless access technology. Now that you have seen various mobile systems, next let us look at some network security concepts. Network security refers to policies adopted by network administrator to safeguard the network from misuse of network resources and unauthorized access by third-party users. It also makes sure that adequate access to all the network resources is provided to all the authorized users. The various network security concepts that we will discuss in this session are virus, worm, Trojan horse, spam, cookies, and firewall. First, let us look at virus. Virus is a malicious program that attaches itself to the host program. A virus is designed in such a way that to gain control over the system without the owner's knowledge by infecting the host program. Every time when the host program is executed, the virus also gets executed. Viruses can spread through external media such as CDs, browsing infected internet sites, from email attachments, etc., and it has the tendency to replicate. The various symptoms of computer being infected by a virus include longer time to load applications, unpredictable program behavior, inexplicable changes in file sizes, inability to boot, strange graphics appearing on screen, etc. The viruses are classified into 3 types. They are file virus. File virus gets injected and also get replicated when it gets attached to MS-DOS program files with EXE or COM extensions. Boot sector virus. The boot sector of floppy disks or hard drives majorly get infected by boot sector virus. Boot sector virus replaces or attaches itself to the booting program of the boot sector and thus infects the system. Macro virus. As the name suggests, macro virus infects and gets replicated using the MS Office program suite such as MS Word and MS Excel. This virus inserts unwanted words in the MS document and thus corrupt the file. Next network security concept is worm. Like virus, worm is also a malicious program, but worms do not require to attach itself to a host program. A worm is an independent object which works by its own and uses security holes in a computer networks to replicate itself. Using the security hole, worm copies itself to the new machine and then starts replicating from there. Next is about Trojan Horse. A Trojan program consists of hidden malicious functions. Trojan horses appears to be legitimate programs and then trick users into installing them, and once they're installed on a system, they expose their true face and cause damage. Few Trojan horses are capable of contacting a central server and reporting back information including passwords, user IDs, and captured keystrokes. Trojans are not viruses by definition, as they lack a replication routine. Next network concept is spam. The term spam refers to worthless text repeated without end. In simple words, it is nothing but unwanted messages or mails. Sometimes you observe that internet is pooled with multiple copies of the same message. It is nothing but spam. Most of the spam received will be from commercial advertising. Spam consumes lot of network bandwidth and also wastes people's time. Next network concept is cookies. Cookie refers to a small text file sent by web server to the web browser when the user browses a website. A cookie generally specifies the unique ID tag and the name of the website from which it has come from. Few cookies last until the browser is closed and are not stored on your hard drive. Cookies are normally used to trace the pages that you visit. Some cookies are stored on your hard drive they reach their expiry date or you yourself delete them. Finally, let us look at firewall. A firewall is a network security system developed on the basis of a hardware or a software. It restricts unauthorized access to or from a network. Firewalls help in blocking unauthorized internet users from accessing private networks connected to the internet. Firewall acts as a gateway through which all data entering or leaving the intranet pass through. Firewall verifies each packet and restricts those that do not meet the required security criteria. A firewall verifies all traffic routed between the two networks to check whether it meets the required criteria. If it meets, it is routed between the networks. Otherwise, it is stopped. A firewall acts as a filter for both inbound and outbound traffic. A firewall may allow or deny all traffic based on the status of meeting the required criteria. Next, let us look at the concept of cybercrime. Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer and internet is used in an illegitimate way to harm the user. Cybercriminals use computer technology to obtain personal information, business trade secrets, or use the internet for exploitive or malicious purposes. Cybercrimes can take place either against persons, property, or the government. The most common forms of cybercrimes include harassment by computer, cyberstalking, defamation, pornography, illegal downloads, and plagiarism, software piracy or counterfeiting, copyright violation of software, counterfeit hardware, black market sales of hardware and software, theft of equipment and new technologies. Fraud, credit card fraud, fraudulent use of ATM accounts, stock market transfers, telecommunications fraud, theft of electronic money. Next is about cyber laws. Cyber laws are formulated to integrate the challenges presented by human activity on the internet with legal system of laws applicable to the physical world. In India, there was no statutory body for governing laws involving privacy issues, jurisdiction issues, intellectual property rights issues, and a number of other legal questions. Due to the increasing tendency of misusing technology, there arises a need for strict statutory laws to control the cyber crimes. Parliament of India enacted Information Technology Act 2000, ITA 2000, to protect the field of e-commerce, e-governance, e-banking, as well as penalties and punishments in the field of cyber crimes. The earlier act, amended later, took the form of IT Amendment Act 2008, ITAA 2008. As per the IT Act, the word computer and computer system have been so widely defined and interpreted to mean any electronic device with data processing capability performing computer functions like logical, arithmetic, and memory functions with input, storage, and output capabilities, and therefore any high-end programmable gadgets like a microwave oven or switches and routers used in a network can all be brought under the definition. Some of the cyber offenses under the IT Act include tampering with computer source documents, Section 65, hacking, Section 66, publishing of information which is obscene in electronic form. Section 67. Next, let us look at intellectual property rights or IPR issues. The rights given to an individual over their own invention is known as intellectual property rights. These rights are usually provided to the creator over the use of his or her creation for a certain time period. The three ways to protect intellectual property are patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Let us look at each of these in detail. Let us begin with patents. The term patent is used for a specific product designed and developed by an individual or group of individuals, and here the designer or developer is given exclusive rights over the product for a certain period of time. The patent right helps the owner to stop others from making, using, or selling the product design. The owner has the right to take a legal action if someone uses the patent without his or her permission. In order to obtain a patent, the product should meet following conditions. It must be newly developed or designed. It must be capable being used in some kind of industry. It must not be a scientific or mathematical discovery. It must be a dramatic, musical, dramatic, or artistic work. Next is about trademarks. Trademark is a name or a different sign or a device identifying a product or a service. These products or the services is manufactured or provided by some specific person or a firm. A trademark is also called as brand name. It should be registered and restricted legally for using it by specific person or the company itself. Next is about copyrights. The term used for a written document is called as copyright. If copyrights are violated, legal action can be taken against it. The various categories of works considered as copyrights include literature works, websites and computer programs, pictorial, graphic, sculptural, and other artworks, visual works like motion pictures, pantomimes and choreographic works, audio or sound recordings, musical works including accompanying words, dramatic works including any accompanying music, and architectural works. Next, let us look at the concept of hacking. Hacking is a term first introduced at MIT in the late 1950s and 1960s to recognize the people who engage themselves in harmless technical experiments and fun learning activities. Hacking refers to an activity where a computer enthusiast uses his computer programming skills to intentionally access a computer without authorization. Hacker is the computer enthusiast who is involved in the activity of hacking. A hacker accessing computer information is not with the intention of maliciously harming the computer or harming the data. Another term most commonly associated with hacking is cracking. Cracking is a method by which a person who gains unauthorized access to a computer with the intention of causing damage. Next, let us have a look at various web services. Let us begin with HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is a markup language mainly used to create and design a web content. A HTML document has the extension .htm or .html. HTML contains various tags and attributes that help in defining the layout and structure of the web document. Using HTML tags, you can present the data in a formatted manner. A text which is linked to another document is known as hypertext. Next is about XML, Extensible Markup Language. Like HTML, XML is also a markup language which is structured to store data. XML is not developed to display data and does not have predefined tags. Programmers are free to use their own tags. XML is case-sensitive, self-descriptive, and a W3C recommendation. XML documents form a tree-like structure as shown in the on-screen example. Moving on to the next concept, www, World Wide Web. www can be defined as a hypertext information retrieval system on the Internet. www was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. www is the universe of the information available on the Internet. It is equipped with web pages, which makes use of HTML to interchange information on the Internet. Every web page on www uses HTTP transfer protocol to display information to the user. It is also capable of making hypertext jumps. Let us now look at the concept of web page. Web page refers to an electronic document designed with the help of HTML, which displays information in the form of a text or graphic. You can also have downloadable data files, audio files, or video files in your web page. You can use hyperlinks to traverse from one web page to another web page. A web page can be divided into two types, namely static web page and dynamic web page. As the name suggests, static web page is a web page that showcases same kind of information whenever a user visits it. Content of the static website do not change. It has .htm or .html as extension. Dynamic web page, on other hand, is an interactive web page which uses scripting languages to display changing content on the web page. It has .php, .asp, or .jsp as extension. While speaking about dynamic web page, you must also know about scripting language. A scripting language refers to a programming language that can be embedded or integrated with other languages. Some of the commonly used scripting languages are JavaScript, VBScript, PHP, Perl, Python, Ruby, and ASP. These scripting languages are mainly used to create dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages support two types of scripting. They are client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Let us look at these two types in detail. Client-side scripting. This technology is used in those web pages where the contents change in response to an action done by the user. For example, a user clicks a button on the web page using a mouse or presses a key from the keyboard. In this, the content is created and displayed on the user's local computer. Examples of client-side scripting languages are VBScript and JavaScript. Server-side scripting. This is used by those web pages which uses applications running on the server to generate the web content. Current time and date, forums, submission forms, shopping carts, etc. are displayed by the web page display using server-side scripting. Most commonly used server-side scripting languages are ASP, JSP, PHP. Next, let us understand what is a website and web browser. Website is nothing but related web pages from a single web domain. Website consists of multiple web pages providing information about a particular entity. Web browser refers to a software program which helps in navigating the web pages on the Internet. A browser displays web page in graphic form by interpreting the coding language of the web page. A web browser enables everyone to access the web who are unaware of the commands used in software languages to design a web page. Internet works on client-server model, and it is the web browser which acts as a client and requests the information from the web server. Then the web server transmits the information back to the client. The web address of the web page helps you to identify the page to be accessed in the web browser. Web browsers are of two types. They are text-based browsers and graphical browsers. Let us move ahead to the next concept, URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. Web address written on the address bar of the browser is called as URL. It is a formatted text string used to trace a network resource on the Internet. Every network resource on the web has a unique URL. Network resources are files that can be plain web pages, text documents, graphics, downloadable files, services, or programs, and each network resource on the web has a distinct URL. The URL text string has three parts, namely network protocol, host name or address, and file or resource location. The format of the text string of a URL is displayed on the screen. The network protocol substring defines the protocol to be used to access the network resource. These are short names followed by the three characters :/, HTTP, Gopher, Waze, FTP, and Mail2 are few examples of network protocol. Next is about URL host or server. The host name or address substring helps to recognize the host or server that withheld a resource. Host names are also called domain names. For example, www.internet.com is a domain name. These host names are mapped into numeric IP addresses. For example, domain name www.internet.com may have IP address 192.2.100.1, a binary number that uniquely identifies computers and other devices on a TCP/IP network is known as IP address. Many servers can provide services in the name of one host that has different IP addresses. Similarly, one server with one IP address is capable of providing services in the name for multiple hosts. There does not exist any one-to-one relationship between host name and IP address, and it is more convenient for the user to remember a numeric IP address than the domain name. It is the DNS server which helps the host names to map it to IP addresses. DNS stands for Domain Name Service. Many DNS servers are collaborated to map the host names and IP addresses case of large networks. Next is about URL resource location. On the host or server, the file or resource location substring has a path to one specific network resource. Normally, resources are placed in a host directory or folder. For example, URL shown on the screen is the location of this web page, including 2 subdirectories and the file name. When the location element is omitted, in the example shown on the screen, the URL conventionally points to the root directory of the host and most often a home page. Now, let us learn about web server. A web server refers to a computer or a group of computers that stores web pages on the internet. It works on the principle of client-server model and helps to deliver requested web page to web browser. They also use special programs such as Apache or IIS to deliver web pages over the HTTP protocol. Every web server is equipped with unique IP address and domain name. The user needs to write the URL of the site on the address bar of the browser in order to access a web page. The machine on which the browser is running sends a request to the IP address of the machine running the web server for that page. On receipt of that request, web server sends the page content back to the IP address of the computer asking for it. Then it translates that content into all of the text, pictures, links, videos, etc. Single website may be hosted on several linked servers, or a single web server may support multiple websites. Moving ahead to the next concept, web hosting. Web hosting is the process of uploading or saving the web content on a web server to make it available on World Wide Web. It should be hosted on a web server if in case an individual or a company needs to make its website available on the internet. We have come to the last concept of this session, Web 2.0. The term Web 2.0 was introduced by O'Reilly Media in the year 2004. Web 2.0 is a new generation of dynamic and interactive websites. A new programming language called AJAX, asynchronous, JavaScript, and XML is used in these websites. AJAX is used to connect dynamic website to the web server and then download small amount of data based on the interaction with the user. In this technology, the entire page does not get reloaded each time. Instead, a part of the website which is updated is reloaded. This makes the website interactive. The various applications supported by Web 2.0 are blogging, social bookmarking, RSS, wikis and other collaborative applications, interactive encyclopedias and dictionaries, advanced gaming. In this module, you have learnt that 1G, 2G, 2.5G, 3G, and 4G are the various mobile telecommunication technologies developed over the years with several advanced features. Virus is a malicious program that attaches itself to the host program. A worm is an independent object which works by its own and uses security holes in a computer network to replicate itself. Trojan horses appears to be legitimate programs and then trick users into installing them, and once they are installed on a system, they expose their true face and cause damage. The term spam refers to worthless text repeated without end. Cookie refers to a small text file sent by web server to the web browser when the user browses a website. A firewall is network security system developed on the basis of hardware or a software. Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer and internet is used in an illegitimate way to harm the user. Cyber laws are formulated to integrate the challenges presented by human activity on the internet with legal system of laws applicable to the physical world. The rights given to an individual over their own invention is known as intellectual property rights. The three ways to protect intellectual property are through patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Hacking refers to activity where a computer enthusiast uses his computer programming skills to intentionally access a computer without authorization. HTML is a markup language mainly used to create and design a web content. XML is a markup language like HTML, which is structured to store data. www is defined as a hypertext information retrieval system on the internet. Website is nothing but related web pages from a single web domain. Web browser refers to a software program which helps in navigating the web pages on the internet. Web address written on the address bar of the browser is called as URL. The host name or address substring helps to recognize the host or server that withheld a resource. A web server refers to a computer or a group of computers that stores web pages on the internet. Web hosting is the process of uploading or saving the web content on a web server to make it available on www. Web 2.0 is a new generation of dynamic and interactive websites.